Aliens. Probably the most iconic sci-fi monsters of all time, these fictional creatures have made a major impact on American films and have in some way or another inspired every form of media to date. But could these creatures exist? The answer might surprise you. The far-fetched biology of these creatures might seem unreasonable, but is closer than you might think. One of the most unbelievable traits of the aliens, or xenomorphs as they are known, is their strange life cycle in which they use a dispensable smaller subspecies to implant a fetus into a victim's body, through the throat and into the chest cavity, where it escapes through the flesh and grows into an adult. These first-stage organisms are known as facehuggers, as the way they use their arachnid appendages to grab around the victim's face and implant the fetus down the throat. The facehuggers only live for about a day, and will cling to the victim until they've died. The facehuggers are scientifically classified as a parasitoid, or a parasite that kills its host. The facehuggers are very similar to certain kinds of wasps that implant their eggs into other larger insects. The interesting fact is that both these wasps and the facehuggers have a way of maintaining the reproduction interrupted by the angry host. The facehuggers place their long tails around the windpipe of the victim and choke him, rendering them unconscious, allowing minimal struggle. The wasps have a similar technique in which they use the stingers on their tails to emit a venom that renders the victim paralyzed. The second life stage of the xenomorph is a large white larva that digs down into the body between the lungs and next to the heart. It will grow from a single cell into the large snake-like larva, which will break through the flesh and bones of its host with its thick head and emerge from the chest cavity. Once again, the wasps have shown many similarities between themselves and these creatures in the way that their eggs will hatch inside the victim, and the young wasps will dig out and devour the paralyzed host. The chestburster larva will then hide in a humid crevice for about half a day until it has grown into a full-fledged adult xenomorph. These creatures grow remarkably fast, alike that of the growth of many insects. But the most remarkable trait of the xenomorph is its acidic blood. The xenomorph body is filled with highly potent acid that is capable of dissolving any metal known to man in a matter of seconds. But how does it not destroy the xenomorphs from within, then? Surprisingly easy answer. The xenomorph cells are partially a strong polymer, much like plastic. Some plastics and other polymers have the ability to contain strong acids, such as hydrochloric acid. This means that the xenomorph's muscles, skins, and organs are capable of holding acid this potent for their entire life cycle without ever deteriorating. One trait that most people would consider impossible is the inner jaw of the xenomorph. The xenomorph possesses a smaller inner mouth-like appendage that they can protrude at high speeds to kill their victims. Having a second, smaller jaw made specifically for killing seems impossible. However, recently we discovered that moray eels possess a small inner pharyngeal jaw, incomprehensibly similar to that of the aliens. Though the eels do not use this jaw as a weapon, they use it for hunting, specifically for slingshotting out of the mouth at high speeds, gripping their prey, and dragging them back into the back of the throat of the eel, in the same way that the xenomorphs shoot forth their jaw to impale vital organs of their prey. Huggers are hatched out of eggs produced by a queen xenomorph, which is 2 times larger than a regular xenomorph, and features a large prominent crest atop its domed head. This singular queen xenomorph is much likened to colonies of ants, bees, and termites, which have a large hive and a central queen, larger and more defined than the drone species, laying the eggs from a large tube-like sac. Also like these colonial insects, the xenomorphs have several castes that work in a peculiar social order together to create an efficient and deadly hive. The first caste is the drone. Basic workers. These castes work on creating and expanding the hive. They salivate heavily from their jaw around the queen, and the special saliva-like fluid hardens like clay into a durable hive wall. They then work outwards from the queen's egg-laying chamber and expand the hive. They have the dome-like head that the xenomorphs are known for. Next is the warrior, which protects the queen within the hive. They're usually more upright standing and less hunched over. The warriors also have a rigid and ribbed head. Then, of course, the queen, which lays dormant in the hive, laying facehugger eggs. It will only dismount its egg sac and move when it witnesses that its hive is in danger. It also appears to be able to communicate with other xenomorphs through pheromones. Which brings me to the topic of xenomorph sight. The aliens have no visible eyes, but have been seen sniffing and tasting objects and organisms, meaning they most likely use a mix of their pheromonal communication and smell, with possibly small weak eyes under a thin layer of skin to keep these weak points protected. The xenomorph possesses a special genetic trait in which they gain certain traits and aspects from their hosts, causing xenomorphs hatched from humans to have an upright bipedal stance, and those spawned out of quadrupeds such as dogs will possess 4 legs and a quadrupedal physiology. This is called horizontal gene transfer, in which an organism gives its offspring specific genes from its mate, which actually has been seen on certain organisms on Earth, adding the final piece to proving that had evolution taken itself in that direction, the xenomorphs biologically could exist in our universe, making the terror of these classic films all the more real. The truly heart-pounding Aliens films defined a generation, and hopefully with future releases will do so again.